The Schott bomber jacket. Now these ones aren't actually designed like the World War II versions. And in this box we have a Schott bomber jacket. It's gonna be dope. I got this for only 70 bucks. I had to pull the trigger immediately. I wouldn't doubt if he had just listed it. He didn't even list it as a Schott jacket. He listed this as a just a men's flyer replicate jacket, something like that, on eBay. And that is how you get some good deals, is by looking through the listings of items that might not even have like the brand name of the thing they're selling. Because this was a nice Schott jacket he had, and these will go for a minimum, in my opinion, unless you're lucky like I got. Oh, it's heavy. These will go for a minimum of like 150 bucks, like bare minimum. And there's usually like tears and holes and stuff like that when you buy these used for that low of a price. So typically otherwise I would think like a used jacket from Schott like this, $300 of this quality, maybe even more. Just look at this. This is a vintage Schott jacket. They don't make this one specifically anymore. It has the patch pockets with the side hand warmer pockets separate from the patch, which I actually really like, because I don't like when the patch pockets start to flare out and get kind of stretched out because of your hands being in there with the weight. So I like having this, and then the patch pocket stays flat. This is a very nice looking leather. This is the first time I'm looking at it. His listing was very bad in terms of the quality of pictures, but I did notice like his name was an expensive kind of car brand name, his username. And he also had a picture of this next to like an expensive guitar amp. So things like that you should probably look out for when you're looking for listings that might not have brand names. So if you look at this, yep, Schott NYC. And a lot of people, like if they saw this listing with the bad quality pictures that he had, a lot of people might determine that this was like a legit replica from, maybe China. But no, this is a legitimate Schott, made in USA, flyer type garment. This spec number, drawer number, and contract number shows up in a lot of jackets, so that's not really how you will determine the model of the jacket. Look at the beautiful lining. It comes with the lining as well. A lot of these jackets, if you find them online, a lot of them do have the lining, but I've seen several of them without the lining, and they're still selling them for like $300+, and without fur collar as well much of the time. And I'm gonna look at the tag, because yeah, I mean, I believe this is definitely gotta be like polyester, right? Which is fine. But he has stuff in the pockets. He has 2 Sharpies and a receipt. I'm not gonna show his name or anything, but I guess I got free Sharpies. That's cool. Yeah, you see? And I imagine this is like a sale that he probably made just based on like not wearing the jacket very much, right? Because he, like, I mean, obviously you can't discern too much from just a couple of pictures and a username, but just from what I've seen and based on how often I buy stuff and how I know how to buy things on eBay, he was likely not struggling to get money, and he just wanted to likely just move the jacket on and get a little bit of cash. Because if you're struggling for money and you have a jacket like this, you could sell this for like 300 bucks. I promise you can sell it for at least around there. Maybe you'll get a little bit less in the end, but I feel like at least $300, this jacket. Here is the back of the jacket. This does have the underarm footballs for a little bit more movement in the arms, but there's no gusset in the back, which I actually prefer. I don't really like gussets on jackets so much. Here's a T-back. Usually you want as big panels of leather as possible. So a T-back is okay. It's 3 big pieces of leather. And there's also no side panel, which means there's 3 large pieces of leather, right? Because a lot of the time the side panel will be attached between the front and the back, which is an extra panel. But these are just larger back panels here. Schott's modern version of this jacket, I believe, is it could be one whole thing. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Or it's or maybe it's just a half back, like 2 pieces. Look at this. You can even see from the manufacturer right here that leather is still in there as well, in the eyelet for the breathing holes. Beautiful jacket. Not super used, because if you look at the hem here, the rib usually becomes a lot more pilled over time, especially on the inside, you can see. And that is not super pilled, not at all. Let me look at the materials of the jacket. Here are also the lapels, which are the kinds that are sewn in and you can't detach them with a snap, which again, for some reason I prefer that over being able to attach them with metal. Here we have this super grainy Schott made in USA bomber jacket. Very nice looking. Look at this grain. It looks a lot like the striations that people like to see on the Indiana Jones kind of jackets. I mean, this is semi-styled like that, I guess. It's not the same jacket, but you know, it has like the patch pockets, kind of like the oversized, like slouch shoulder. Of course, it is not an Indiana Jones jacket, but it kind of reminds me of it, and I think this is the kind of leather they would love. Like, this is perfect. It's like that kind of T-core with the brown on the inside, lighter brown, and then the paint kind of wears away off the top. And this jacket didn't start off this grainy. This grain actually started popping way out after the jacket got soaked. It got soaked completely through, so now the grain has popped out a lot more, and it's quite a bit stiffer even. It used to be much more pliable. Now it's more boardy, which is why I would like to add a little bit more moisture back in there. And for people that think water somehow ruins leather, it doesn't, unless you just don't like graininess, right? Because it'll bring out a lot of the grain. If you get like caught in the rain and it gets soaked through, it'll like, this looks drastically different prior to it getting soaked through, right? So if you want the grain to pop like that, then it's okay to get your jackets wet. And I guess I'm not recommending it or anything. You can do what you want, obviously, but I just feel like online there's a lot of like, there's a stigma that leather is so fragile. If it gets wet, it's done. And like, don't ever get your jacket wet. Like, what? Like, you understand what these are used for, right? Like, I guess a lot of people don't, but these jackets are durable. They're meant to get wet. They're meant to get soaked through. They're meant to keep you dry and warm, you know? This is kind of what leather's for. And just because some grain pops out doesn't mean it's ruined. If anything, well, I wouldn't say most people, but most people that enjoy leather like seeing grain like that. I actually love seeing all that different grain and the different colors popping out, the patina, right? It's patinating, as they say. But yeah, like, water is not gonna ruin your jacket. There are certain things, I guess I've seen people ask, like, can I wash my jacket? I would say yes. I've washed several leather jackets and they've always turned out great. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. But there are certain things you have to take into account. Like, there was one post I saw where someone washed like an asymmetrical side zip, like, motorcycle jacket, and I suppose with that, yeah, like the zipper got a bit wavy or something. And if you don't like that, then yeah, of course you got to take that into account. But he intentionally shrank his jacket down to a size that he preferred. And people, you know, there are people in the comments, I like to read the comments like that. There are people in the comments like, oh, well, I would have never done that, good luck. But it's like, he enjoyed the jacket more afterward. Who cares about what your opinion is after he already did it? You know, like, the jacket wasn't ruined. In your eyes, maybe it was. And like, because a lot of people might think this, oh, that jacket looks ugly, it's so grainy, and it's like, I want a smooth jacket. Well, get some plastic, dog. Get freaking faux leather and have it fill the landfills and look like trash and be trash for the rest of its life, you know? Or just pick different leather jacket, because you don't have to have one that becomes this grainy, that's for sure. The Schott bomber jacket. Now, these ones aren't actually designed like the World War II versions. I made a video on this one, and these are amazing jackets. This one specifically is from Cooper Sportswear, no longer in business, but this I really enjoy. It just has those large pieces of leather on it and designed literally after the World War II versions. Unlike the Schott jackets, I think a lot of people that don't know about these kind of generational type of jackets, like the A2, maybe like the G1 from the Navy, they don't know that this isn't designed like the World War II jackets because they look really similar. And let me take it off real quick. And if we take a look at it over here, you'll see they always have like these kind of embroidered and stitched in labels here. Flyer type garment, spec 8519 MS, drawer number 358, contract number 7364457, and then all the stuff about the garment being made in accordance with military. Oh, there it is. I guess you gotta really see stuff like that. Is the repro there? Usually it says military spec, right? Military specifications. But this is, of course, a reproduction, and it's not reproduced in the same way. Like, it doesn't have the same patterning or anything like that. If you look at the back of it, this would have been a pre-distressed one, right? From Schott. As you can tell, like, stuff like this was actually already part of the jacket. Maybe not this scrape here. I'm not sure about that one, but like along the edges and stuff, that would have been done by Schott themselves at their own factory. And typically you won't have like this big seam in the middle, right? Usually you want just like one large panel of leather. And I think a lot of their modern day jackets, the ones that they sell today for like $800 or something like that, those ones actually do have one large panel. But the difference is the other ones don't have these actual real shearling collars, right? The ones that they sell today, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I am, but the ones that they sell today aren't real shearling. If you look on this side, you flip it over, you can tell this is real leather. And if you look wherever, okay, actually the best way to look at this is you gotta kind of comb, right? You kind of have to comb through this material, this real fur. And once you hit the bottom, it might not come up on camera very easily, but once you hit the bottom of this, you'll be able to tell there's no kind of like cotton looking retainer down there, right? Where all of the polyester would be kind of. I just woke up, so the terminology is escaping me hardcore, but I think you understand what I mean. It's like the Sherpa attaches to something other than leather, right? Like this is actual shearling, this is the skin, and this is the fur, and it stayed attached just like that, right? Which is very cool. I highly prefer shearling over Sherpa, but it doesn't mean that it's not necessarily any better in a sense, because I have like, let's say, my Wrangler Sherpa jacket, the denim one, and that one's amazing. I like the Sherpa. It keeps me super warm. In fact, that jacket's probably just as warm as this one is, because this one, it does have the polyester lining on the inside. Now this is like more of a Sherpa, right? This isn't really a Sherpa design, or like how it's kind of flat and straight. It looks like straight hair. Most Sherpa is not like this. It's usually fluffy and kind of like round and matted, right? So I'm not sure if you would call this Sherpa, but it's the same concept. There it is. Just to show you how it's attached, right? There's no fur back here. It's just attached to material, man-made material. Nice little pocket on the inside. These are called like 4-in-1 jackets from Schott, and the reason they call it that is pretty simple. Is there's 4 different combinations you can wear it with. You can have just the collar, you can have just the lining on the inside, you can have both, or you can have none. So there's 4 different combinations. In my opinion, a jacket like this, even their modern day ones, I think this would have come from the 80s or something like that. Maybe, I'm not sure. But even their modern day ones, they I don't know, like I just feel like the design, even though it is removable and it seems cool, I feel like the design of it is I guess I can just take it out now. I'll just wear this really dope A2 jacket while we take this lining out. And here you have it. You can zip it out, right? And it's pretty nice, pretty cool. But in my opinion, the design of these jackets, like how they're just built so wide, this thing measured at 50 inches pit to pit, which is kind of insane when you think about it being a size 40. This is a size 40 jacket. What kind of person with a size 40 chest? I have a size 41 chest, has a size 50 or needs a size 50 in the sense of the pit to pit being 25, right? Pit to pit, you measure it, it's at 25. Double it up, quick math, that's 50. So in my opinion, the only reason I might zip that out is if I wanted different layers in here, but at the same time, it's like, that thing is pretty thin. It's not really going to take too much space in here. It doesn't. So I don't really see the point in taking it out. I don't think I would wear this outside of like fall and winter, I guess is what I'm getting at. Because it's such a hefty, big jacket, it's not really something you would wear in the spring or the summer. Like this, you can wear in the summer, maybe at night, right? You wear it in cool summer nights and during the spring. But this one here, winter and fall in my mind. But that is still an option for people that like that. I just think it's kind of like almost a redundant one, but I don't mind it. Same thing with the collar. We can take the collar off. I like all the snaps are really robust, and the ones that snap from the inside are made with leather. Here it is without the collar. I'll also wear the jacket in a second. But let me show you this beautiful shearling. Look at this. The snaps, leather. The inside of it built very well. You have these old school labels, which I always like to see. You can see that this one was made specifically for this jacket, size 40. Yeah, this is one of my favorite parts because it's just real. I love shearling. I love the real mouton fur and like natural materials as much as possible, right? I don't mind synthetics, but I love natural materials. And I've actually never worn it like this. I haven't owned it for that long, but I've never worn it without the collar and without the lining. And it definitely feels a little bit lighter for sure. So I guess maybe if it's like one of your only jackets and you want to wear it in the spring, you definitely can, because this is a leather jacket. Leather jackets are not that warm without some kind of insulation. And the only kind of insulation at this point with those two things off is the cuffs, and that doesn't really do that much. All these wool cuffs really do is keep the wind out, really, especially if you're like kind of standing. If the sleeves are long enough for you, they tunnel and they create a doubled up material there, and that's really good for like winter. Really keeps the air trapped inside the jacket rather than having your warm air leak out and cool air or cold air come in. One thing I really enjoy is the hefty zipper. Number 10 YKK has the snap at the bottom, unlike most traditional A2s, which, it doesn't really matter, honestly. The snap is just a snap at the bottom. I don't feel like the little flap really flares out or anything. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, I bought this thing for like $70. This is, and it's new. Like, it might look like it's used because I washed it. Because what did I say earlier? I said that this thing measured at 50 inches pit to pit, and now it's 46, which is perfect for like a winter layering jacket for someone with a size 41 chest. So a lot of the striations, a lot of the detail, and like the really like leatherness of it came out because of washing it. And the distressing itself was from the factory. Schott does make distressed jackets. They always have. I think they still do today. These pockets here, I really like how the snaps are super robust along with the leather. It just has this really nice tactile kind of feel, and they always align. I'm not sure if you've ever had jackets where the snaps on like lower pockets like this, or I don't know, any kind of pocket, you're trying to snap it on, but the material's stretching and it's like misaligning, and you're like just trying to snap it and it doesn't work. That never happens with this. This always just hits the right spot and you snap it on. Such a simple thing, but it's nice. Like, it's a nice tactile feel, and it's like a nice design. Because like this channel, Splished, is about functional fashion, right? I love things that function well and things that just make me feel good. This is the Schott jacket. I'm not sure what style it would be, but you can see these all over the website. I used to actually think that these looked a little bit too like bulky and large, especially if you see their models. Like, it looks like the jacket's too big for them. But then, like, the more that I started kind of just seeing the jackets around, and like in pictures and stuff like that, I don't really see it too much out in the wild. But when I started seeing more pictures and I bought this one myself because it was so cheap, I just realized, like, you know what? My mindset was a little bit off on that, because I actually really enjoy the bulkiness of this. I like that it's heavy, thick cowhide, and that it is different from a traditional A2 like this. Because now these are two different jackets, right? They're styled similarly, but they're completely different. This one's a goat skin, which is also very nice. I typically prefer cow, but in this instance here, especially if you want something that will last like a lifetime, it's goat. Goat's gonna last way longer than cow, and horse as well tends to last probably about just as long as cow. But yeah, so these A2s, just especially this collar, I just like really enjoy the collar. I'm probably always going to keep this attached for the most part. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to rock it as their 4-in-1 system. It's simply going to be a one jacket system for me, and one jacket, it's pretty great. Like, there's a lot of mobility in this thing. As you can see, like, there's extra panels down here. There's the eyelets for a little bit more breathability. I think they call these underarm footballs before I just got cut off. Yeah, because they're shaped like an American football, right? Here are some details of this jacket. As I mentioned, I think, or did I get cut off? Yeah, I think I got cut off. This is like a polyester, I believe. Yeah, when I feel it, definitely feels more of a polyester than a nylon. I usually prefer nylons, but poly works just fine. But like, ultimately I would prefer like a cotton, right? Cotton would be best, even though it's going to be less smooth. But if you use like a cotton drill, it's just preferable in my mind, especially if it starts to like tear or rip or anything like that. Cottons are easier to repair on the inside than something like this. Once this tears at all, it basically, it wants to split. It'll want to split apart, but that might not happen because this jacket is pretty wide. As I mentioned, it was 50 inches, so 25 pit to pit, and now it is 23. So it went from 25 inches measuring from underneath the armpits. For those that don't know, you measure garments like tops from the armpit, right? You zip it up first, make sure it's nice and flat, and then you measure from underneath the armpits, and that'll get you the pit to pit measurement. And typically a size 40 is not going to be, well, 23 I guess makes sense a lot of the time, but 25 is insane. 25 inches pit to pit for a size 40, which is basically a medium, is pretty insane. And what else is insane, I'm sure people are thinking, is that I washed it, right? But look at this leather. I'm just looking at my camera right now. My God, that's so nice looking. In my mind, if your jacket is getting ruined by something like that, like getting, you know, a downpour, and or maybe leaving it outside on accident in the rain for a couple days, you think it's gonna ruin the jacket, I like, why would you buy it? Why would you buy it? Because even like a polyester jacket is not really going to is not really going to get ruined like that, right? And of course you're thinking, well, it's leather. Those are different materials. Yeah, they are, but leather is the ultimate, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't treat your stuff like they're freaking babies, dog. It's fine. Now, if you don't like all the striations, and like, look at that. This really popped out, right? After the wash. A lot of this was already here, but it really, like, you know, it contracted quite a bit. And not everybody likes that kind of stuff. But if you're a leather person, I think most leather people kind of like that stuff. I think so. Again, I'm not recommending washing it. I'm just saying that if the jacket's too big for you and you know you can shrink it, you know a little bit about leather, go for it. Because I like to think I know quite a bit about leather. Been around it for a long time. I've done this to other jackets as well, and it's always worked out fine. Like, it's always worked out fine. There's never been anything that went wrong. Again, you should be discerning. You should probably, you know, just know a little bit about what you're doing, and don't complain if you ruin your stuff. I mean, you can complain if you want, do whatever you want, but look at that beautiful made in USA Schott, New York City. Check out the links in the description. I do probably have an affiliate link straight to Schott, but also check out eBay, because those are great places to pick things up like this. eBay, Mercari, sometimes Amazon, depending, maybe not Amazon for this, and those other sites like Depop and stuff, right?